Students took an icy break, how the Florida school shooting has affected Oklahoma schools, and have scientists found the key to living longer? This is OU Nightly.
Hello and welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Katelyn Howard.
And I'm Cheyenne Plummer. While OU students enjoyed a few snow days this week, we are glad to be back in the studio today. Although campus was closed, Norman roadways remained safe during the ice and sleet.
Many residents erred on the side of caution and stayed off the roads throughout the height of the winter weather. City crews worked around the clock with Norman PD to ensure snow routes and secondary routes were clear to those who needed to travel. Winter weather-related traffic incidents across Norman were fairly limited.
Like 1 or 2 non-injury crashes, maybe 1 injury crash, and a lot of those, that's pretty par what we would have on a normal day.
Emergency crews said advance notice and the fact that people heeded warnings to stay off the roads kept the number of incidents low. The ice is gone now,
but the dreary weather isn't. Brian, how can we expect the rain to stick around?
Yeah, that's right. You know, we're not seeing that winter weather anymore across Oklahoma, but we had not gotten rid of the precipitation. And as you can see, we are still seeing it as of now. We have just been under this fire hose of showers and thunderstorms producing locally heavy rainfall and some flooding across the area. And, you know, unfortunately, we are not done with this rain at all. We're going to continue to see flooding issues across the area just heading into the next 48 hours or so. And but the good news is the temperatures are above freezing across the state. For the exception of Woodward, but we're not going to see any more of that ice coming up. So we do have a lot more rain in our forecast. We're going to be warming up into this weekend, and could we possibly see severe weather next week? I'll have more coming up next.
The flu continues to hit Oklahoma as the state hits the peak of flu season. Since September, 173 people have died from the flu. Just this week, we've seen 5 deaths and over 300 hospitalizations. Doctors are still urging Oklahomans to get the flu shot if you haven't yet. We're also following some breaking news out of D.C. right now. Brooke Murski has details from the News Center.
Katelyn, breaking news late this afternoon. The special prosecutor accuses Paul Manafort of secretly paying former European politicians to lobby on behalf of Ukraine. And earlier today, former Trump campaign official Rick Gates pleaded guilty to 2 criminal charges of federal conspiracy and false statements in the investigation into Russia's meddling in the presidential election. Insiders say this means Gates is planning to cooperate further with special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. A Broward County sheriff voiced strong words after the discovery that an armed school resource officer waited outside the Parkland, Florida high school while a shooter was on the loose. During the investigation, after the deadly shooting, Sheriff Israel said it was determined the deputy was on campus and stayed outside the building rather than doing what he said the officers are trained to do.
What should he have done?
Went in, addressed the killer, killed the killer.
The officer assigned to the school resigned after this information was made public. The investigation reveals there were 3 other Broward County deputies who arrived at the school but did not immediately enter. In the aftermath of that deadly school shooting, the discussion about gun laws continues. Today, Florida Governor Rick Scott announced a plan that would require residents to be 21 before purchasing a rifle. The National Rifle Association says it opposes any age restriction on gun purchases. Governor Scott also wants to put more funding towards school safety and mental health treatment in Florida. It's been a crazy day in D.C., and to top it off, a woman intentionally drove her car into a security barrier at the White House. No shots were fired, and the woman was immediately apprehended.
Thank you, Brooke. While some debate gun laws,
others are undergoing school security training. Up next on OU Nightly, what Norman police are doing when it comes to active shooter training. Plus, we'll have the latest on threats against some Oklahoma schools.
With the Florida school shooting fresh in people's minds, Oklahoma schools are dealing with what some call a copycat effect. At least 6 northeastern Oklahoma schools have received social media threats from students just this week. Several schools, including Bigsby and Muskogee, were placed on lockdown today. Other schools decided to increase security on campus. 2 Coweta students were arrested earlier this week in connection with threats to that city's junior high school.
While those were threats, when the situation is real, Norman police say it is best to be prepared. OU Nightly's Amina Schweitzer tells us how officers are making that happen.
How can a tragedy like the one in Florida at Stoneman Douglas be prevented? Gun control and mental health improvements could be made, sure. There are arguments on both sides. One thing that can be done and is being done, however, is training.
Obviously, there's a need for it because of the unfortunate current events that continue to happen throughout the country.
The Norman Police Department hosted a training session with the hopes of educating average citizens on active shooting protocol. The training stressed the essential steps someone in an active shooting situation should take: run, hide, and fight.
Number one, we stress that if they get out of that situation, to get out. If they cannot get out at the immediate start of the event, to barricade, shelter in place, and hide. And as a last resort, fight back.
Over the last few years, schools have become pretty common targets for shooters. Some Norman educators attended this training with the hopes of using and sharing Callahan's tips with others.
I plan to go back and pass this on to my staff members and then reach out to some of our parents and then kind of do some little things that we can work with the kids, just so that everybody feels a lot more secure and comfortable. I just look forward to going back and sharing it with everyone at the center.
Callahan ran 8 of these trainings, and Norman citizens made a strong showing at each one. Having both a conversation and a plan are the invaluable lessons learned. Amina Schweitzer, OU Nightly.
This was Callahan's last scheduled active shooter training, but he says there have been many requests for more sessions and he will most likely meet those demands.
A former teaching assistant at an Oklahoma elementary school who pleaded guilty to molesting 10 girls has been sentenced to 10 years in prison. 86-year-old Arnold Cohen pleaded guilty to 21 felony counts in a deal with prosecutors. As part of his deal, Cohen will serve at least 8.5 years in prison, followed by 10 years probation. And still ahead on OU Nightly,
what scientists are saying might lead to a longer life.
It's going to be raining in the next 48 hours or so.
Next. Well, I hope you're staying warm and dry this Friday afternoon. You know, we've just seen tons and tons of rain across the area. We continue to see it all across the state, as we're seeing, you know, just rounds of showers and thunderstorms here in not only Norman, but most of the state. 37 degrees here right now. It is raining. We actually did just have a pretty strong thunderstorm pass over the studio just a little while ago. We're getting a little bit of a break now from the rain, but we are certainly not done yet. As you can see, there's a lot more rain and thunderstorms to our south. This is going to continue to move its way from the southwest to the northeast over Norman throughout the night, just continuing to soak us here over the next 24 to 48 hours or so. And this has prompted a flash flood watch for most of the southeastern portions of the state, and that's just due to up to 2 more inches of rain expected in the areas in the green and in the light green. So we are not done with the rain yet. This is very good news though, because we have been pretty dry this winter, and we'll take anything that we can get, but unfortunately just not a lot of rain in the places that we've been seeing it. So this low pressure system is actually causing all of this rain, and you know, we've just been seeing this for the last few days. This is our last hurrah as it moves into our area tonight, and it's going to bring one more round of thunderstorms tomorrow morning, which could be on the strong to severe side. So we'll talk more about that in just a second. But lows tonight, 38 degrees. There actually is going to warm up throughout the night as we do have a warm front coming in from the south. So 38 degrees, that's going to be your midnight temperature. And highs are actually going to slowly warm up through the day as well, except for the northern portions of the state. We're going to see 59 here in Norman as that front starts to move its way. So let's look at the next 48 hours. As you can see, there's that occluded front and warm front to the southeast. I believe that this is going to be a little bit further to the west than what this model is showing, but Norman's going to get drenched again at around Saturday at 9 a.m. And then, thankfully, it moves out of our area and we dry out for the first time in about a week or so. So this is very good news for us. We're tired of seeing the rain here. Unfortunately, the drought-stricken areas of western Oklahoma that so desperately need this precipitation are just going to miss out on this event. But hopefully we may see more precipitation coming in the next week or so. So how much are we expected to see? Well, we could see near or above 1/4 of an inch here in Norman, and there you go down in southeast Oklahoma. We're seeing over 2 inches of rain, so definitely certainly a soaker for this area of the state. But as I mentioned, this is our last hurrah for a while. So it's going to be morning storms on Saturday. We do clear out through the afternoon, and then Sunday looks beautiful with sunny skies and a high of 62. We stay warm through the rest of the week, although we're watching Wednesday, as Wednesday could be possibly our next chance of severe weather. So we're starting to get into that time of the year. You know, we saw a lot of wintry weather this past week, but we're going to start to focus on the severe weather heading into next week. So
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that warmer weather after this week.
yeah, warmer and drier for sure.
Thanks, Brian. Scientists are saying a daily stop at your local Starbucks or liquor store could actually be good for you. Researchers at the University of California are saying people who drink coffee or alcohol actually live longer than those who don't. Their study found that people who drink 2 glasses of wine or beer or 2 cups of coffee per day are 10% less likely to die prematurely. Even though I'm not 21, I guess I'm gonna have to double up on that coffee to make up for it.
I'm not 21 either, so I'll have to go more as well.
Well, that's all that we've got for you on this rainy Friday, but stick around. Big Friday Sports is next.
The nightly sports team has the latest on what's happening in the sports world. Reagan is here with more.
By the way, I love coffee, but thanks, guys. Today on Big Friday Sports, we have a very packed show of Sooner teams in action this weekend. Plus, the weather has not cooperated too well, but it's baseball season again here in Norman as OU prepares for their home opener. Big Friday Sports is just around the corner. Hey, welcome to another week of your favorite segment, Big Friday Sports. I am Reagan Ledbetter, and he is Kenneth Adair.
Man, oh boy, do we have another packed show, but this time it's full of OU Sooner sports, you guys today. So, hey, let's say we get into it.
Yes, we do. We start with a team that just can't seem to find their way. Trae Young and the OU basketball team. A little over a month ago, this team was playing for a Big 12 title and now find themselves at the bottom of the race. OU heads into a matchup with Kansas State tomorrow on a 6-game losing streak, having lost 9 of their last 11 and a 30-point blowout loss to Kansas on Monday night. A team who could not seem to be slowed down on offense to start the season now cannot find the net. But Lon Kruger is keeping the hopes up as the regular season comes to a close.
Well, it's been tough for a while. We've got to keep battling. It's not going to get easier. We got to, keep being aggressive, keep attacking, try to get some confidence individually. Back. We got 3 games of regular season left, so we got to, make the most of it we can, and we got to keep working and getting better.
On the other end, OU women's basketball is riding a 3-game win streak as they take on Texas Tech this Saturday at noon. The Red Raiders are currently on a 9-game losing streak, plus the Sooners gave Tech a beat down earlier in the season, so this should be an easy game for OU, but hey, they do still need to prepare for their final home game of the season.
Yes, they do, and it's baseball season, but the weather is telling a different story. OU baseball's home opener has been pushed back to tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Sooners will have back-to-back doubleheaders on Saturday and Sunday with Holy Cross and Valparaiso. And Matt Marks and Collin Kennedy are over at L. Dale Mitchell Park, braving the weather with a look ahead at the Sooners weekend. Guys, over.
Thanks, guys. Hey, everybody. Matt Marks here with the man, Collin Kennedy, back from a DL stint this past week.
Yeah, I had a little short DL stint, but you had a spot star for me on Big Friday and did a really good job. And now I'm back. Just in time for my favorite sport to be back in the Sooner State.
That's right, Collin. It is baseball time in Norman, Oklahoma. We're here at L. Dale Mitchell Ballpark, and the Sooners, Collin, have a big weekend ahead.
Yeah, they do.
Opener.
They need to bounce back. They went 1-3 in their opening weekend, but they're back at L. Dale Mitchell for the first time this season, opening things up against Valparaiso and Holy Cross this weekend. They have to win these games to get a solid foundation for a solid season moving forward.
That's right. Turn things around. What is your key to this series this weekend?
Well, the big key here, Matt, is that the top 3 in the Sooners lineup, specifically Cade Harris, Kyle Mendenhall, and Steele Walker, are hitting the ball really, really well. Cade Harris, 571 and 4 doubles, and then those 2 behind him are hitting 333. But everyone else in that lineup in the projected lineup, I'll say, isn't even hitting above 200. They have to produce, especially at the bottom of the lineup, in these very winnable games so that when tough competition comes, they can produce.
The Sooners have two freshmen, Cade Cavalli and Tyler Hardman, who both hit their first career home runs this past weekend. Talk a little bit about them this weekend.
Well, they're going to be big, especially Cade Cavalli. He hit his first home run in his first collegiate at bat, but he was one of those guys, several guys, that were guilty of errors in the field. He's got to step it up at first base, and if he just hits the ball like he can, he'll be big for the Sooners moving forward.
Yeah, the Sooners committed 15 errors so far this season, so they've got to turn that around this weekend.
Absolutely. Should be fun to see, though.
And also this weekend, you're going to be calling some games.
Yeah, absolutely. Subbing in for Toby Rowland, voice of the Sooners. Buddy Reagan Ledbetter in the studio is going to join Carson Williams for the 11 a.m. first pitch, and then 3 p.m. I'll be joined by my man Josh Calloway as we call those two games for you. Tune in on Sooner Sports TV.
It's going to be a good weekend. Back to you all in the studio.
Thanks, guys. And OU softball is currently in California with 2 more games to go. Must be nice. They are facing BYU today at 5 p.m. Then tomorrow, the Sooners will go head-to-head with North Carolina. OU's coming out of a victory over Arizona State and a tie with Team Japan. They look to close out the trip with 2 more wins added to their belt.
And Maggie Nichols and the top-ranked Sooners women's gym team return to the LNC for a meet with West Virginia tonight at 6:45. The state of Oklahoma has been very, very kind to the Sooners this year. OU is 3-0 in the state after a win in the Perfect 10 Challenge last weekend in OKC. The Sooners come into tonight's meet with 3 of the top 6 scorers in the country this year and ranked in the top 3 in every event. OU looks to move to 15-1 against the Mountaineers.
And OU men's gymnastics will be on the mat this weekend to take on number 9 Navy. OU has gone back-to-back performances, posting the number 1 score in the country, and the top team looks to continue that streak. The meet will be Saturday at 7 p.m. in McCaslin Fieldhouse.
And after a rough start to a just 1-4 start to the women's tennis season, they are now on a 3-match win streak. The Sooners look to carry on that streak as they host USF today at 5, just down the street from where I am right now.
And still to come on Big Friday Sports, we'll take a look at baseball's game day forecast. And also, OU men's hockey coach will join us on the set right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Well, if you're planning on heading out to the baseball games tomorrow, it could be a little bit tricky weather-wise as we do have some AM storms expected in the area. Could put a delay on the games in the morning, but they will quickly move out of our area. We'll be in the upper 50s for tomorrow, so not so bad. The Sunday looks beautiful. Temperatures in the lower 60s and clear skies. Back to you guys at the desk.
Hey, welcome back. We have a very, very special guest in the studio with us, the head coach of the OU hockey team, Peter Arvanitis, and that is Greek, not Italian, as I was told before this. Thanks for braving the rainy weather and joining us on the set.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. We really do appreciate it.
Well, you guys just wrapped up your season last Sunday. How'd it go? How was it?
A little rough. We finished with a 17-2 record, but there's always room for improvement. This is our big recruiting season right now in the springtime, so hopefully we have some holes to fill, and hopefully we can fill those for next fall.
And during the season, you had a lot of offensive spurts that showed how good you were offensively. How do you continue to improve that in the offseason going into next year?
Well, you got to just find the right players to come in, because obviously you got guys that graduate, other guys that decide obviously to go into the corporate world and obviously get themselves good jobs. But we got to find some players that can fill in with the team that we have now. And hopefully we can find some players that can gel with each other. And when you do that, obviously that chemistry ends up to goal scoring and obviously wins.
Now, you guys are a club team here at OU. Is it really that much different compared to another team?
I just don't like when people say club, but that's just where we got to be under a certain umbrella with the university. But we treat our players like any other NCAA Division I school. You know, we dress them the right way. You know, when we travel in style with sleeper buses. They're always wearing Nike tracksuits, Nike jerseys. So we treat them the right way, and that's why we get a lot of kids that do come here, because they're not only going to a great academic institution, but a very competitive hockey program as well.
Now, obviously, a lot of OU students don't know too much about club sports, and sadly to say that about hockey as well. But what's one thing you would want students to take away from OU hockey?
It's a fast sport, and it's a fun sport. It's a contact sport, and it's different when you watch it on TV and when you watch it live, as you know. When you come to a game and you watch us play and you watch your fellow student athletes come out and play and you know them because they're on campus with you, you'll get attracted to it because it's a fun sport to watch when you're there and you're live. And obviously we're a very good hockey team, and obviously we'd love to have the support of our students obviously from OU.
Sounds amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, thank you for watching Big Friday Sports, brought to you by Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication.
And now we leave you with the largest comeback in D1 basketball history. Enjoy.